Hey guys, and welcome back to Mondays with Mona. Today we are going to talk all things Marvel. There, that's the way I wanted to say
You
it.
did it.
I am joined back with Holly. You may recognize her from the Julie and the Phantoms podcast video. This is essentially going to be the same thing podcast, just kind of going back and forth, talking about Marvel and everything. Yeah. I am gonna put a spoiler warning for WandaVision. We aren't really gonna go into depth about it now because the show isn't over, and I would like to go over that when the show is actually over. But if we do mention it, I'm just gonna put a spoiler warning now in case you guys haven't seen the show. Let's get started. Okay. Ow. Okay, so first things first, like with all things Marvel, we can kind of just go in specific movies, or we can just talk about like what your favorite Marvel movie out of all of them is, if you have one.
I have many favorites, but like
But
we
like
we
if
talked
you
about this
were,
with characters too, like having like a top few.
that's true. And on number one, I actually put Spider-Man Far From Home because as currently that is one of my favorite Marvel movies. But if I were to pick like a specific classic Avengers movie, it would be The Avengers.
I see part of me would always want to say Avengers because that was like my first Marvel movie. But in terms of like what I'd put as the best Marvel movie in my opinion, it can change a lot, but usually I end up putting Winter Soldier just because I feel like it's an all around just like a really good movie.
Hmm.
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of people love that movie. I love it too. Your favorite character, your top five characters.
You were like, wait, we have to think about this. Okay, top five characters. I'm gonna say in no particular order because it changes a lot. Um, Tony Stark,
Yeah.
Loki, Valkyrie, Black Widow, and Falcon.
That's a good list. I love it. My favorite, I always say my top three, but I will give you my top five. My top five, top five heroes, top five villains, top five side characters.
We could go that route.
We could. So if I'm doing that, I could say top five heroes would be, would be Spider-Man, Ant-Man, Iron Man, Captain America. No, Wanda and Captain America. But I also really love Sam too. So, villains would be any villain from like any of the movies. So I would say Loki, Venom, Thanos. Put him down on the list. He's not one of my favorite villains. I actually really hate him, but if I'm going in villains wise, he is a good villain. People always say that he had the right intention, but the wrong outcome.
He kind of did, and like this is like we said, like minor spoilers for WandaVision potentially. Mm-hmm. When you see the scene where Monica comes back and everyone comes back and like the hospital doesn't have the capacity for all the people coming back, and you think of, problems with overpopulation and stuff, he did have good intentions to like set the world back where it could like safely keep growing and moving as a planet, but also like kind of had a bad way of going about that.
Yeah, like it was just not executed properly.
Yeah, and didn't reason with humanity very well.
Also, can we talk about the fact I was rewatching I like how you looked up and you're not even here.
No, I'm in my basement and somebody was walking.
Oh, someone's walking too upstairs.
I was like,
but we looked up at the same time. So I was like, did you hear what I heard? And you looked up? was gonna say, oh yeah, I was rewatching the Avengers the other day, because I love that movie. But I saw the end credit scene where Thanos was in it, and then the other one, and I was just like, I hate it. I hated the look. Like, it was just dark purple. Like,
you have to decide what color to make him, because he's like pink in the Age of Ultron end credits. And then all of a sudden he's purple again, but it's a completely different.
It was a different actor in the Avengers movie, wasn't it?
Yeah, because there's the first Avengers movie is when you first see his face. And I remember being the young, like, fifth grader that I was and being like, what the heck is that? And then going home and doing my research and going, oh, that's Thanos. Good to know. And like trying to find comics and read up on it. And then when Age of Ultron came around, it's the end credit scene where he's like, fine, I'll do it myself. And he goes and takes the gauntlet. And he's like, I think like a pink or red shade there. And I was like, we changed colors, but it could have just been the lighting. It might just be the lighting. It was really dark at the first Avengers end credit scene, and it was not as dark in that one. And then like they came around and I was like, and now he's purple again. And I don't know what to think. And I just wondered at that point.
And my other favorite, I would say, other like villain that I liked, which is before she was really, this is like way back when, villain, I would say, was Nebula.
I would put her as like, because as a villain, I enjoyed like when her character arc was leaning on the villain side, I enjoyed watching her. Now she's technically more considered a hero. Some would argue she was always probably more considered a hero, but yeah, I would definitely put her in like my top villains.
Side characters would be Darcy, Valkyrie, Ned Leeds, Happy Hogan, and Jimmy Woo.
Jimmy Woo. He's in every 5 videos on my TikTok page, and I'll think it's something serious, and then it comes up and it's like, you've been Jimmy Woo. 12th time today. Yeah.
You can see in the window that there. You just got Jimmy Wooed. Share this with all your friends to totally Jimmy Woo them.
That's so funny. And then what else did I say? I said heroes, villains, side characters, and then there was another one, wasn't there?
No, it was just those 3.
Those 3. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, no, I'll get like, and I think I almost sent this one to you, and it was like this really beautiful aesthetic video of the Winter Soldier, and it was a beautiful edit, and then all of a sudden it was like, you've been Jimmy Woo, and I was like, go back to Bucky. It's like, fine, you get a like because you fooled me.
Honestly, I know like a lot of people hate on Hawkeye because he's like he doesn't do anything, he has a bow and arrow, but he's an archer. He's a good hero, I think.
I don't like hating on Hawkeye like at all. When I was younger, some of my favorite comics were the Hawkeye comics. I still have them, making him come across as the most expendable Avenger that like doesn't do much. Also, like, just Hawkeye as a character could have opened up a little bit better for representation, specifically among the deaf community and the community that's hard of hearing, because like that is part of his story. And like in the first Avengers movie, he's up in his nest at the beginning because he sees things better from up there, because he actually, like, most of the time technically is reading lips because it's part of his character. They don't touch on it a lot.
Oh, I honestly didn't know that. That's
the comics again. So they kind of touch on it in that. He also has a dog in that, and I liked the dog.
He has a dog in the movies?
Yeah, but like, you don't see it that often.
What is like a few facial expressions that you took away from Marvel? I saw that trend and I really want to do it. One of them that I do is this one, the Wanda one.
The head tilt. I do the head tilt, but when I do the head tilt, I think of Supernatural. So I think of Cass because he also does the confused head tilt, and so that's what I think of for that one. I find myself often doing the Tony Stark, the hand.
I was about to say the other one I do is this one.
Yeah.
How long is it going to be before they LoJack us like a bunch of common criminals?
Who the hell is Bucky?
Star-Lord says, yeah, you know, Thor, tall guy, not that good looking. And he's like,
Yeah, I do that one all the time. I do the
yeah. Loki and Ragnarok, when he turns around, he goes,
I am Groot. I am Steve Rogers. That's why you don't like hats?
one minute you think someone has a weird shaped head, and then you realize it's just because they have on a hat. Wait, that's why you don't like hats?
I am Groot.
He hates hats.
I am Groot.
On anyone, not just himself.
I am Groot.
One minute you think someone has a weird shaped head, the next minute just because you realize part of that head is the hat. That's why you don't like hats?
This is an important conversation right now.
I'm Mary Poppins, y'all.
I've always loved Guardians of the Galaxy movies. And it's not, I wouldn't put them in like my top 5 per se, but like they're always something that I can just put on and they make me laugh and I enjoy them and I never like regret having watched them.
But no, seriously, what was I going on about earlier? Oh yeah, I did the Wanda thing, like the
hands.
the hand thing, yeah.
When Age of Ultron first came out, I was constantly doing that. I also went out and I got like the sets of rings like she had and I would wear all the rings.
Oh really?
I constantly do the hands.
Quotes, but this one is literally my favorite. It's the one where in Thor Ragnarok, yeah, he turned himself into snake. He knows that I love snakes, so I went pick it up to admire it. And then he turned back into himself, and then he
It's me and
he stabbed me. And then Bruce just goes
and Loki the whole time is just kind of like
smiling.
well, and what I heard was okay because 85% of that movie was improv. Part of why it's so funny. And so Tom didn't know that that's what Chris was going to say. So Tom sitting there going, is his genuine reaction to it. Also, side note, somewhere I have like a sticker my friend got me and it's got the whole snake story typed on it with a little snake in the bottom.
But I just loved Mark's reaction. He was just like,
so yeah, that was everyone's genuine reaction, which is what makes them so funny. I have a sticker on my water bottle of Loki that says your savior is here.
he's a friend from work.
You could quote anything from Thor Ragnarok at any point in time, and there's a 95% chance that whoever you say it to is going to laugh.
We know each other. He's a friend from work.
I quote a lot, and it's not like I even drink alcohol because I'm not old enough yet, but like even with a non-alcoholic beverage, I'll quote like Valkyrie talking about how they need a car for cup or a ship that has cup holders for drinks. And when she says, I will give you until I finish drinking this to try and persuade me to help you, and like downs the whole thing in 10 seconds.
My favorite, literally, I can quote that scene so well. One of my favorite scenes is the, where's Gamora? Yeah, I'll do you one better. Who is Gamora? I'll do you one better. Why is Gamora?
That scene has been one of my favorite scenes since that movie came out, I think.
Same.
And I'm glad to know through things like the TikTok trend that I'm not the only one who can quote the whole scene.
No, I literally did a video on it. No. It's a cow farm. You're gonna have cows outside.
I want to use that audio so bad, but like the problem is like I'll have like a joke and I'm like, I don't think everyone's actually gonna understand it. Also, it's the fact that I'm part of like way too many fandoms
To figure out which one you want to do.
Yeah.
Okay, I've got some Marvel questions now that I pulled up. Okay, so now we can get really into some Marvel questions. It's just like we know.
Yeah.
What's the name of Thor's hammer?
Mjolnir. Despite the fact that on New Girl the other day when I was watching it, Winston called it Mew Mew. And I yelled at the screen. I was like, that's not the name.
He just, you know what? He went off. He went Darcy. What's a Mew Mew? But no, I'm not gonna say. I know it's Mjolnir, but I'm gonna say ask me the question again.
What's the name of Thor's hammer?
Jonathan?
No.
I love Paul Rudd for that. Holly, That deserves a jar moment.
I think the movie was played up to be something that it shouldn't have been played up to be. Because like the movie on its own, if I just watch it, I enjoy it and it's good and I like the message of it and I like how it sets up her character. But
me too, but it was set up the way that she was going to have such a bigger part in Endgame, but she didn't, so it didn't make sense.
Yeah, they set it up to be this huge tie-in to Endgame when in reality it was an introduction to her character. So I don't know, if you watch it from the standpoint of that, it's a much more enjoyable watch.
I know it's an acronym, but I didn't know what it stood for. JAR.
I'm just gonna tap it. I went a whole week without you telling me jar, and now we have it 2 times in 10 minutes. Iron Man 3 came out and they had that free app that you could download that was like Siri, but it was Jarvis.
I want that.
I want my phone to actually have Jarvis. Screw Siri. Budapest,
and nobody actually knows what happened there.
Yeah, they need to address that. They can't just say in the Black Widow makeup collection, we're gonna name the red lip color Budapest, so you can buy that, and that's your little breadcrumb we're gonna throw you, because I totally bought it, but now I want to buy a movie ticket to a movie that's gonna explain to me what happened in Budapest.
Right? Do you follow that channel on YouTube that's like the how it should have ended?
But I do watch their videos.
There's the one where it's you should have one that you really love, and he goes back and gets the throne that he sits on and throws it over.
Yeah, because I also think, because a lot of people are like, there's no way he really loved Gamora, but like I think about Thanos as a character, and when you really think about him, his sense of love and towards things like that, it's gonna be a little warped. Obviously we'd all consider his one true love. See, when I thought about what he really loves power, and the power that the gauntlet and the stones give him, because that's like his one true goal in life. So I was like waiting for him to have to throw his gauntlet down there and then be like, how do I get that back?
What word does Tony say that makes Steve say language?
I love that can technically be considered the first line of Age of Ultron. It's just
I didn't really like the Brutasha thing. I mean, it was
I think where they were going with it made sense. But like I couldn't see it going anywhere after that. Like I think it was nice for their characters to bond and have a nicer friendship and meaning, because then when you went back in Infinity War and Endgame and they saw each other again, they were kind of like, oh hey, and like they had more of a friendship built off of it then. I didn't see it going anywhere. I don't think it was the worst thing they could have possibly done, but I didn't care for it.
I like Roman Rogers better. Anyway, but
I like Roman Rogers, but everybody calls it Stucky, but T and I will call it forever Starbucks. Think about that as a ship name for Steve and Bucky. Hashtag Starbucks for life.
Is for like the next phase of Marvel. Spoiler warning, this might contain WandaVision spoilers. Like for the phase of Marvel from where WandaVision is at right now, I would say that, because in production, right, it's going to be WandaVision, then it's going to be the Falcon and the Winter Soldier, which I'm actually interested to see, because it doesn't actually look like, but I mean, you really can't reveal anything in a trailer when the show hasn't ended yet. So it just doesn't look like there's anything to do with WandaVision. Like it's not interconnected. You know how all movies.
Okay, obviously, every single thing that happens in the Marvel universe, because basically WandaVision has confirmed the multiverse. Everything that happens in the Marvel universe is part of the multiverse. However, there are things that will, touch more with that and like brush more with that, like things like where you have other realms and other universes where you have like Guardians of the Galaxy and Thor are different from like Earth and Avengers, and so obviously those coming together kind of make them all part of the multiverse. But like the Captain America movies, they aren't going to talk that much about things like the multiverse. So like Falcon and the Winter Soldier is probably going to fall more under that umbrella where it doesn't connect as much with stuff like that. So in terms of it connecting with WandaVision, there might be, we could say there could be a brief mention of there's this thing happening out in New Jersey, but like they're not going to send Bucky and Sam out there to stop Wanda.
Right.
So, yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah. Like they're all happening at the same time within this same universe that has connection to the multiverse, but I'm not going to send a guy with mechanical wings and a metal arm to go deal with that.
I'm really excited to see some new heroes come into the MCU. People think that Iron Man is going to come back in some way, and not like come back, but like like that there was like that video of him talking to his daughter, so people think that he's going to appear on those, but also they think
I think there's high probability that he's still going to appear. I just don't think he's going to like come back.
Oh no, because that would just defeat the purpose of the character arcs. Like it doesn't.
Yeah.
Like the thing that they did with Captain America, I mean, I like that he got to go back, but I just didn't like he could have just retired and he could have been like,
I think that kind of really what they did with when they tied up loose ends in Endgame, Iron Man's character progression was fully complete. Like in a way, he had to be killed. Like I love him and I miss him, and like I wish there were more movies, but like he completed his full
trilogy.
Yeah, his full trilogy, but also his arc as a character, because like his arc in his trilogy is he goes from like building the weapons to realizing they're in the wrong hands, not wanting them to be there. But then when you get the first Avengers movie, you have Captain America literally say to him, you're not going to be the one to be willing to sacrifice yourself. And, at that point, Tony's kind of just being like a little stubborn and petty and is like, oh, want to bet? And then he does like take the nuke up into the hole. But like, and then in Age of Ultron, he like goes under the city and like blasts a bunch of the stuff. Like he was fully prepared to have to be underneath the thing when it fell back to Earth. But it's Endgame when he does the snap that's like the full completion of him proving Cap wrong, and that showing how much he's changed from way back early 2000s.
Right, makes sense.
Yeah, but then you have like Captain America's storyline is he, throughout his trilogy we see him go from being like the stereotypical rule follower to breaking those rules for his like friendship with Bucky, and like being able to put his faith in the people he knows and loves before his faith in like people who are in positions of power, so to speak. But then like when we get to the end of Endgame, he literally like he's fought to be beside Bucky forever and he just leaves.
There was a interview that I saw with Sebastian Stan, and he said that was implied, that they had the conversation of him going back.
Yeah.
He was gonna
I do wish that they had included not like a full conversation, but you see them kind of talk and have like a moment, because as somebody who like loved watching that friendship throughout the movies, it would have meant a lot more.
Oh, definitely would have made more sense.
Because like it was implied, especially because Sam's like, well, where is he? Bring him back. And Bucky's like, oh, it's fine. He knows what he's doing. And Bucky was like, I know what he's doing. He knows what he's doing. I think that conversation would have been a very nice thing to have, because knowing them, I feel like they both would have been like, well, no, I should do it. And then they'd be like, well, if I do it, then this, and then have that conversation, because that,
yeah,
they both want to do it for the other. The other big thing was, I never watched the entirety of the Agent Carter show, but I did watch season 1, and I plan to go back and rewatch it and watch season 2. But, and I get Steve wanting to go back and be with Peggy, but it really kind of diminishes a lot of her story, because throughout the first season, we watch her, she works very hard to like get over losing him because she thinks she's never going to see him again. They find like more super soldier serum and like a way to use like blood samples from Steve Rogers to like make more super soldiers, and she has some of it, and like at the end of the first season she dumps it into like a river, and it kind of like, you know, it's her finally moving on and letting him go. And like it took her such a long time to do that, and when she finally did that, she was able to like focus on herself and, you know, continue to do the work that she was doing because people like him weren't there anymore. And for him to then go back, and it just makes me like, I obviously know that time travel works a little different. It doesn't change everything all the time in the Marvel universe.
That's
but
the thing that I didn't like, that I just didn't understand, because what my theory was with this was when he went back and he was back with Peggy, he created an alternate timeline. But he came back to the present and the timeline that he came from. So that's where I got confused, because I was like, it makes sense that it would be a different timeline, but then he's back in his own timeline. So then it just didn't.
To me, time travel makes more sense if you let it be, hey, we changed this in the past, so now we've changed this in the present. Like it was cool to see it done a different way, but it was really confusing.
But it just made all movies and shows about time travel bullshit, because it was like, you can change anything you want in the past and it doesn't change anything in the future.
Yeah, because it's like you watch something like Umbrella Academy and it's like you change it, it will drastically change your future, and it's probably not the way you want it.
Umbrella Academy, if they went back in time and then didn't lock Vanya in that room, the apocalypse wouldn't have happened.
Yeah. Can we talk about how if we went back in time in Umbrella Academy and Five maybe noticed that the fucking moon was gone in the future, that could have helped? He was there for so long. How come it never occurred to him that the moon was missing?
Yes, Luther can't go back.
Like, that's the thing. That's what triggers the apocalypse, is Vanya blowing up the moon. That's what then comes and, you know, destroys the earth. So for a genius, you really didn't notice the moon was gone during your like 45 years there.
Oh,
like,
there's a line in the Umbrella Academy, I think it's in season 1, where he's like, and he puts his hands up, he's like, I can do this all day. And I was like, okay, Captain America. Hardly ever do I ever like a character that is evil, because I never attach myself to them, with the exception of Loki.
Mm-hmm.
Can we talk about the fact that I didn't realize this, and then I saw it, and I've been seeing it more and more now, but Thor had a strand of Loki's hair braided into his, and that's why he didn't want to cut it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
He's my brother. He killed 80 people in 2 days.
And Thor's like, oh, he's adopted. Loki never saw himself as like family to Thor because he never saw himself as Odin's son. But like Thor always saw him as his brother. Like nothing changed that. So
you didn't see this coming. My accents are terrible, by the way. You took everything from me.
See, and that's hard because there's like a raspiness from the emotion for that one.
Took everything from me. Oh my god, that sounded like a little chipmunk laugh. One of them I quote all the time. Since when?
When I think of the interviews, there's two moments I distinctly think, well, more three, but the two that I usually distinctly think of is when Mark Ruffalo goes, wait till the next one, we all die. And then Don Cheadle just goes, dude.
Because not everybody died.
Yeah. No, the other interview moment I think of is when Sebastian Stan and Anthony Mackie are like, and then Tom's on set and we're like, get the kid a juice box. Anytime they make fun of Tom for being a child.
Quaxin. Oh, because of Tom Holland, now I call croissants Quaxins.
Mm-hmm.
Writing it down seems like a better option.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It's just a lot. It's like so many theories, so many things that could happen potentially, so many things that you don't know are going to happen. Mm-hmm. But then also the fact of, if I don't know a specific thing that happened in a specific movie, branded as not a fan, which doesn't make any sense. I really hate those where people have said that to me in person where they're like, name every single character there is in the MCU. You're a fan, name every plot line.
Mm.
And it gets annoying. It's like, can I just be a fan? Know a lot. Like, I have a lot of Marvel knowledge, but just because I don't know one thing.
Yeah, well, and it's like I shouldn't have to defend myself to somebody as a fan of something. And to me, I'd rather people have knowledge of different things within it, because that means that you can actually have interesting conversations about it with people. Instead of, if everybody knew all the same things, then we wouldn't be able to actually like learn anything from each other.
Yeah, exactly.
It's I get it more often with other things, but it's a lot of the times you get the quote that you like boy movies.
Yes, which is annoying.
I'm glad that we're finally gonna have movies like Black Widow, and we're gonna have female Thor, and just.
But here's the thing, and they act as though they're like, oh, you only probably like it for Tom Holland, or you only like it because of Chris Evans, or like because of the hot guys. And I'm like, no, I like it because I love the movies and the structure and the entirety of that universe. It literally helps me, and Wanda would be proud of me for saying this, escape my own reality in a way.
Yeah, no, like, because people are like, you probably just like it because whatever. A lot of times I get the stereotypical Loki fangirl who likes the movies because they like Tom Hiddleston. But that's when I end up having to break out that actually my first movie was Avengers. I couldn't stand Loki at first. I actually hated him. And I didn't have anything on my mind about how hot the guys were. I just liked that it was.
Neither. The first time I watched like the MCU was when I was 10, when the Avengers came out.
Yeah.
But even though before then I was a Marvel fan because I watched all the cartoons and everything, so I was already attached to those characters. And then I grew up, watching the Amazing Spider-Man and Spider-Man movies before Tom Holland was even Spider-Man. So when I say he's my favorite character, I mean that in all aspects of all the movies, not just Tom Holland's Spider-Man.
Yeah, and like for me it was like I didn't end up really falling in love with the character of Loki until I was in 7th grade when I saw Thor: The Dark World, which is really interesting because a lot of people don't like the Thor movies, and specifically don't like Thor: The Dark World.
I like the Thor movies. I don't like Thor: The Dark World. But the thing too is that boys will say that we like the guys because of their looks, and then I'll see videos of them saying that, like, oh my God, look at these new photos of Haley Steinfeld being Kate Bishop or Black Widow. I'm like,
yeah, well, and
you guys can do it, but we can't.
Well, and it's like, they get mad at us for sexualizing the men of the industry, when for how long has, obviously there is functionality in the fact that Nat's suit has always been sleek and fitted, but at the same time, like, Scarlett Johansson has literally said that there were suits that she's worn for filming that, like, were really uncomfortable to even breathe in, and like the cleavage is just unnecessary and all that. And it's like, so we aren't allowed to sexualize the men, but like the women are specifically put on the pedestal to be sexualized within that industry. So
right. So it's like, I wouldn't say it's unfair because you shouldn't sexualize anyone anyway, but it's just, it comes back at the girls for being,
they think we're only invested for that purpose. Right. But it's like, you can watch, just as like a man would watch the movie and, think that they find Scarlet Witch attractive, or they like how Black Widow looks in her costume. We might feel the same way about the men or the women even. But like, we tend to kind of constantly get criticized for it, whereas they don't always. They have more recently. But yeah, it's just interesting because then we often get told that we like the boy movies and we like them for the attractive men.
Yeah, so that's what I really liked too about, finding TikTok this year and finding cosplay, or this year, 2 years ago. But then again, I also had it. People made fun of me for having Musically, but I mean, I don't really condone that because my Musically sucked. But like, through 2019, that Halloween, because I went to Halloween as 11 and then I started cosplaying her. So she was my first cosplay. Like I was attached. I was like, oh my God, this is something I can actually do. And then I kept on doing it.
Yeah.
Doing it and doing it, right? And I loved it. And then I met a lot of my friends from it, through it, right? So it really helped me in a way, essentially, like not escape reality, but it is a really good thing for me to do that. And then even then, sometimes they'll still judge you for cosplaying. How much I already loved a character, how much more I could by cosplaying them and showing that in my cosplays, like Peter Parker. Like I can Peter Parker and Steve Rogers. Well, actually, I didn't actually kin Steve Rogers, but everybody that I know says that I'm like Peter Parker and Steve Rogers because I'm like the mother of the group and like that. So that's a thing.
Yeah. It's like, we get to make friends through the internet too, like you and I. But like also like even just having like the mutual following each other, even if you don't ever talk, it's still like having a connection with somebody. I consider like basically if you're a mutual with me, I consider you a friend and I openly speak of you as a friend to other people. But like in the world today, especially now, it's a very good thing to have connections with other people, because we're not as often going outside and seeing people in person with things like the pandemic happening. So it's a way to kind of have like those positive connections without being able to go out and do them physically.
Yeah, no, I understand. I get you completely where you're coming with that because it makes complete sense. Like I was talking to my friend the other day and she was like, I could connect you to this guy I know. And I said, that's amazing. Thank you so much. So you're right. It's all about who you meet, who you know, who you talk to.
Yeah, and with it, you posting whatever you want, you can find people who, share that interest and like the same things very easily because you're looking at the same hashtags and you're searching for the same things. So
he understands because he was a Marvel fan before he was Spider-Man.
Yeah. It's always nice when like people are a fan of something that they then get to work on.
Yeah. It's such a crazy thing though too to like, want to be in that industry and then potentially getting to work on something that you've loved for years. Like I would honestly, I would fangirl too. I would be like, oh my God, I'm working on a Marvel movie. I would love that.
Yeah.
Right? Like you always have to start somewhere too, whether that be as an extra, a background character, someone with like few lines, but like there are, some auditions. That's why, I like this setup too, because I've been looking at auditions and seeing if there's anything online that I can audition for, but I haven't, like, I honestly, I might just be like looking in the wrong spot because I've been looking and I can't seem to find anything.
There's a girl on TikTok, I'll find her, that like posts good websites to look for.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'll find her info to send to you.
We went from talking to Marvel to talking about wanting to be actors and wanting.
Yeah.
See, but that's the other thing. On topic. But that's the thing. I know we can't stay on topic, but that's the thing is like it's still good to talk about because it's like it gets your idea out there and people to see you in a different way, being like, oh my God, yeah, I would love to see you in something. Or YouTube is my other form of a platform where I can talk about other stuff and talk about, for long periods of time. But there's so many Marvel characters that I want to do. I want to do Maria Hill, Scott Lang, and Wanda, and other characters too, and Darcy too.
Yeah, well, and like I, started TikTok just because like I wanted to be able to bring like my closet cosplays specifically because before even like hardcore cosplaying on TikTok, I wouldn't even call it hardcore at this point. But fully investing time in it and stuff, I was the person who my daily outfit choices were very much inspired by my characters. I was often basically closet cosplaying just every single day of my life.
No, I'm pretty sure it's mine. Jar.
Yeah, no,
The way I can say jar 2 times.
Once again, I made it a whole week and now we've said it like 5 times on this. But it's like I finally cosplaying like Tony this year, ordering like the shirt for that and everything, and like the arc reactor and stuff. That was like when I was a kid, I was like, oh, Iron Man would be a very cool character to cosplay. So it's like, you know, also kind of making childhood dreams come true.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think that's all we have for you guys today. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys next Monday. Bye. Wait. Oh my God, it's Robert Downey Jr. Words, I mix it up. Oh, that would be so sweet. Yeah, okay. Mark Ruffalo.
My sister has that bookmark.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
It says it's temporarily closed.
I love this.
Now let's work on, just for a second, a thumbnail, something that is Marvel that I can edit and make it.
Are you going to keep recording?
Yeah, I am still recording, so we can do a thumbnail.
No, I'm grabbing my hands like things because I can use them. Because I can do like the little hand thing.
Okay, you can do. You can if you want.
You can.
Or you can hold up the Tesseract. Do you want to do the Wanda? Or do you want to do the Tesseract?
I'm gonna do the Tesseract.
Okay, hold it like this. You bet I'm gonna try and put the effect in here. You can just put it in the video itself.